You are desperate, and that is exactly why you are empty. Think about it. Every frantic text you've sent chasing a response, every obsessive refresh of an email that never came, every time you wanted something so badly that you could feel the wanting in your chest like a stone and still got nothing. Desperation doesn't attract, it repels. This is not a motivation speech. It's not about grinding harder or believing in yourself a little more. The Stoics understood something that most people still haven't grasped, that the architecture of your mind determines the outcome of your life. Not your effort alone, not your talent, your thinking. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in human history while battling illness, betrayal, and grief. He didn't win because he wanted it more. He won because he thought differently. 6 rules, not hacks, not shortcuts. Rules, the kind that rewire how you see, how you want, and how you move through the world. Strip the delusion. Internalize the goal. Use the obstacle. Anticipate the fall. Embrace the end. Build the fortress inside. You've been acting like a beggar. It's time to think like an emperor. If you're done chasing and ready to think like an emperor, drop emperor in the comments. Let's see who's serious. Rule 1. Strip the glamour. Here's the first uncomfortable truth. You don't actually know what you want. You think you do, but what you're really chasing isn't the thing itself. It's the idea of the thing. The story you've built around it. The version of yourself you imagine you'll become once you have it. You're not chasing the goal. You're chasing a feeling you've projected onto the goal. The Stoics had a name for this distortion. They called it false glamour, the way our imagination coats an object of desire in a light that it doesn't actually possess. You see the relationship and picture romance, security, being chosen. You see the money and picture freedom, respect, arrival. You see the status and picture peace. But here's what the Stoic practice of stripping the glamour forces you to do. It makes you look at the thing itself, raw and unadorned. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this directly. He described looking at roasted meat not as a delicacy, but as the corpse of an animal, wine as fermented grape juice, a beautiful person as skin, muscle, and bone, not to be morbid, but to see clearly. When you stop seeing things through the film of your own projection, something remarkable happens. The desperation fades, the frantic energy quiets, and in that quiet, you can finally ask the right question. Do I actually want this? Or have I simply convinced myself that having it will fix something broken inside me? Most people never ask that question. They just keep running. The Stoic approach doesn't tell you to stop wanting things. It tells you to want them honestly, to understand what they actually are, what they will actually give you, and what they genuinely cannot. Because a desire built on illusion is fragile. It shatters the moment reality shows up. But a desire built on clarity, on a real understanding of what you're pursuing and why, that desire has traction. It doesn't spiral. It doesn't consume you. It guides you. See the thing as it is. Then decide if you still want it. If you do, you're ready to pursue it in a way that actually works. Rule 2. Internalize your goals. Epictetus was a slave. He owned nothing. Not his time, not his body, not his freedom. And yet he became one of the most philosophically liberated human beings who ever lived. He understood one thing with absolute precision. There are things within your control and things that are not. And the moment you stop fighting that line, the moment you accept it completely, everything changes. Most people set goals the wrong way. They say, I want to get the promotion. I want her to love me back. I want this business to succeed. Every single one of those goals is an outcome, and outcomes are never fully in your control. Other people's decisions are involved. Luck is involved. Timing is involved. When you anchor your entire sense of progress and self-worth to something you cannot fully control, you have handed your peace of mind to the world, and the world is chaotic and indifferent. Internalizing your goals means rewriting them. I want to get the promotion, but I want to prepare with excellence, communicate my value clearly, and perform at the highest level I'm capable of. Not, I want her to love me back, but I want to show up as the best version of myself, honestly and without desperation. You control the inputs. You release the outputs. This is not passivity. This is precision. When your goal is internal, anchored to effort, character, and process, you become immune to failure anxiety. Because failure in the traditional sense no longer applies. You either executed your process or you didn't. The external result is information, not verdict. It tells you what to adjust, not who you are. This shift is quietly revolutionary. The person who internalizes their goals doesn't need the outcome to feel successful. They simply keep executing. And paradoxically, almost unfailingly, they get better results. Because they're not leaking energy into worry. They're not paralyzed by what might go wrong. They're just doing the work. Epictetus couldn't free his body, but he freed his mind completely. That freedom is available to you right now. Rule 3. Transform every obstacle. Something is going to go wrong today. Something went wrong last week. Something will blindside you next month in a way you can't predict right now. That's not pessimism. That's just life. The question isn't whether obstacles will come. They will. The question is what they mean when they arrive. And that meaning is entirely yours to assign. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This isn't a motivational poster. It's a description of how he actually governed, through plague, through war, through the betrayal of people he trusted. Every disruption became material. Every setback became instruction. The Stoics called the complete embrace of this idea amor fati, a Latin phrase meaning love of fate. Not just acceptance, not just tolerance, love. The radical notion that everything that happens to you, including the things that break your heart, cost you money, damage your reputation, or derail your plans, is exactly the raw material you need to become who you're supposed to be. Now this is where most people push back, because loving your obstacles sounds insane when you're inside one, when the relationship ends, when the business collapses, when the person you trusted walks away. It doesn't feel like material, it feels like destruction. But think about the people you most admire. The ones who seem unbreakable, whose success feels earned and real and deep, almost without exception. Their resilience was forged in something hard. Their clarity came from confusion. Their strength came from being broken and choosing to rebuild differently. Setbacks are not interruptions to your story. They are your story. The Stoic practice here is to ask in the middle of difficulty, what is this teaching me? What is this making possible that wasn't possible before? What version of me is being built right now if I choose to use this instead of being destroyed by it? That question is rocket fuel. You don't have to be grateful for pain immediately, but you can decide right now that nothing that happens to you will be wasted. Rule 4. Premeditate disaster. Most people do everything they can to avoid thinking about what could go wrong. They call it optimism. The Stoics called it dangerous. There is a practice at the heart of Stoic philosophy called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It sounds grim. It is, in reality, one of the most psychologically liberating things you will ever do. The practice is this. Before you pursue something important, you deliberately imagine everything that could go wrong. Not in a spiral of anxiety, but in a calm, methodical walk through the worst realistic outcomes. The deal falls through. The person leaves. The health scare is real. The investment fails. You sit with those possibilities not to despair, but to desensitize. Here's why it works. Fear draws its power from the unknown. The thing you haven't let yourself think about lives in the dark corners of your mind, and because you refuse to look at it directly, it grows. It becomes monstrous. It shapes your decisions from the shadows, making you hesitant, cautious, half-committed, always holding something back, just in case. You end up living a half-life, hedging against a fear you never even examined. Premeditatio malorum drags the fear into the light. You look at the worst case clearly, honestly, and you ask, could I survive this? Could I recover? Would life continue? Almost always the answer is yes. The monster shrinks, the shadow disappears, and you walk forward with your full energy committed, not split. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And he was right. The anticipatory dread of losing something is often worse than actually losing it. The anxiety about failure is often more debilitating than failure itself. When you premeditate disaster, you rob the future of its power to paralyze you. You have already done the emotional work in advance. Whatever comes, you've been there, in your mind. You know you can handle it. This is not pessimism, this is armor. Think about your biggest fear right now. Look at it directly, walk through it. You'll find, on the other side, a version of yourself who is no longer afraid to act. Rule 5. Use death as fuel. You are going to die. That sentence either paralyzes you or sets you free. The Stoics believed it should do the latter, and they built an entire practice around making sure it did. Memento mori. Remember death, not as a morbid obsession but as the sharpest clarifying tool available to a human being, because nothing cuts through distraction, procrastination, and false priority like the genuine awareness that your time here is finite. Marcus Aurelius returned to this thought constantly throughout his private journals. He wasn't being dramatic, he was being precise. He understood that the awareness of death, held clearly and consistently in the mind, has a unique power. It makes the unimportant things fall away, and it makes the important things urgent. Think about what you keep postponing, the conversation you haven't had, the work you keep meaning to start, the person you've been meaning to forgive, or call, or become. You postpone these things because you operate as though you have unlimited time. You don't, and somewhere beneath your daily routine, you already know that. Seneca was unsparing about this. He wrote that most people don't live, they merely exist, drifting through days that feel endless until suddenly they aren't. The tragedy isn't death itself, it's the unlived life that precedes it. Memento mori doesn't tell you to be reckless, it tells you to be awake. To bring the same urgency to your actual goals that you'd bring to them if you really knew, that your time was measured. There's a reason people who survive near-death experiences often describe life afterward as completely transformed. It's not that anything external changed, it's that the awareness of finitude became real to them. The things that used to feel urgent, the social performance, the comparison, the small daily anxieties, collapsed in importance, and what was always important suddenly demanded their full attention. You don't need a near-death experience to access that clarity. You just need to remember, your life is happening right now. What are you waiting for? Rule 6. Build the inner citadel. Everything you've learned so far, stripping the glamour, internalizing your goals, transforming obstacles, anticipating disaster, using death as fuel, all of it is construction material. And this is what you're building. A fortress inside yourself that no person, event or tragedy can ever breach. The philosopher Pierre Hadot, writing about Marcus Aurelius, called this the inner citadel. It's the idea that the deepest part of who you are, your capacity to reason, to choose your response, to assign meaning, belongs entirely and exclusively to you. No one can enter without your permission. No circumstance can destroy it. It cannot be taken, only abandoned. This is what separated Marcus Aurelius from every emperor who came before and after him. He had all the external power a human being could possess: armies, wealth, absolute authority. And he understood that none of it was the source of his strength. His strength lived inside him, and because it was inside him, it was untouchable. Here's what that means for you practically. People will betray you. They already have. The world will be unfair to you. It already is. Plans will collapse. Relationships will end. Opportunities will disappear. Health will fail. None of this is speculation. All of it is coming in some form for everyone. The person without an inner citadel is at the mercy of every one of these events. Each one has the power to destabilize, to define, to devastate. They live in a constant state of vigilance, protecting their happiness by trying to control a world that cannot be controlled. The person with an inner citadel faces the same events, but they are not at their mercy. Because their center of gravity is internal, not external, their peace doesn't depend on outcomes. Their identity doesn't depend on results. They can lose the job, the relationship, the status, and still know with quiet certainty who they are and what they
you.